Games emphasizing open-world survival are quickly becoming the hottest trend on the indie scene. The likes of Minecraft, Terraria, and the upcoming DayZ and Don't Starve all have you exploring a mysterious world, attending to basic needs, and trying to do whatever it takes so that you live to see another day. The independently developed Miasmata follows a similar approach, one that finds your character seemingly alone on an atmospheric tropical island. Since the focus of the game is exploring the world around you, it makes sense that the story in Miasmata is part of the discovery process as well. Your character's name and the vague circumstances behind your presence on the island are briefly told to you at the game's start. You're suffering from a debilitating plague, and your goal is to discover the cure. There are no lengthy cutscenes, dialogue sequences with NPCs, or recorded voiceovers to drive the narrative. Instead, you'll learn more about the island by discovering pages or notes at the various outposts you'll encounter during your travels. Journal entries, newspaper clippings, chalkboard writings, and a few bodies of murdered scientists will serve as clues, but it's up to you to decipher their meaning. If you believe the best stories are ones you piece together yourself, then you can't help but be drawn to Miasmata's spare approach. The game is played entirely from a first-person perspective, with your character's gear consisting of a compass, wristwatch, map, canteen, lighter, and leather-bound journal. Your primary objective is to find the 3 ingredients necessary to manufacture the cure to your predicament, and to do that, you'll need to venture out and collect specific types of plants. Since you're affected by the plague, your character's strength, perception, and endurance levels will be low, which means you'll more easily succumb to its debilitating effects. Try to swim in the water, for example, and you'll start to drown. Walk up a steep hill, and you'll start panting like a dog. Go too long without water, and your vision will become hazy until you'll eventually die. To combat the effects of a fever, you'll need to pop some pills or find a cot to rest your weary head. To stave off death, you need to find places of respite, which offer a bed, notes to fill your journal, and labs to perform experiments. The latter is a key part of the game's design. To create the medicines, tonics, and syringes to improve your character's abilities, you'll need to first collect flora and fungi and take them back to the lab. While each lab's array of beakers, Bunsen burners, microscopes, and other equipment might cause horrific flashbacks of chemistry class, scientific knowledge isn't necessary. Cutting the plant, grinding its contents with a mortar and pestle, and slapping it on a slide or throwing it in a beaker is automatic. You just click on a piece of equipment. The process is simple and straightforward. Find a plant, pick it up, and hike back to one of the outposts to examine it under a microscope. This will reveal its properties. You'll then take the analyzed plant to a synthesizing station to create medicine. You won't have to remember what does what, as each discovery is automatically entered in your journal, and you'll be able to store some plants in collection areas that are magically shared with other labs throughout the island. At each resting spot, you'll also be able to fill your canteen with water and save your progress by either sleeping or lighting a candle. The inability to save your progress at any time and the requirement of having medicine and water to relieve the effects of fever are not the only dangers to worry about. The developers have also created a palpable form of tension and fear for your survival in the form of a panther-like creature that you'll encounter randomly throughout the course of play. When this happens, you'll hear an audible heartbeat that grows louder as the beast draws near. You then have to hide, run away, or create a distraction by throwing items to escape it. The biggest issues with the design are the inconsistencies. You can grab 3 types of plants, for instance, but not 3 of the same type. Your character can perform scientific experiments, but he can't figure out a way to craft a backpack. You can pick up an axe, but you can't chop down a tree. You have a lighter, but you can't create a campfire. You constantly need to drink, but you somehow don't need to eat. Miasmata's gameplay is all about exploration. There's no combat, and crafting is limited to making tonics and medicines. There's no mini-map, health meter, or other traditional interface gameplay, so you have to actually look at your watch, compass, and map by holding out your arms. It's very possible to get lost, which is actually part of the game's allure. To find your bearings, you can triangulate your location by scanning the area for 2 known man-made objects, which will reveal the nearby area on your map. It's not at all easy. You have to find the right elevation points and have a clear line of sight, so there's a puzzle-like feel to mapping out the area. You'll also rely on the notes you receive at the various outposts in the game to find specific types of plants in the region. The challenge comes from your character's condition. He can't do anything too strenuous, at least early on, and one of the biggest dangers you'll face is not from the creature, but rather from sliding down a steep hill and falling. This can be extremely frustrating, as it sometimes feels like your character is wearing roller skates on ice. Once you start sliding, it's difficult to stop, causing you to tumble, become disoriented, and get the fever. If you don't have medicine when this happens, you'll move even more slowly and start to go in and out of consciousness. Hours of progress can be lost in this game if you don't carefully plan out your trip in advance. Since there aren't a lot of things to actually do on the island, it was imperative that the developers create an interesting and inviting place that makes you want to explore. They accomplished this to great effect, as you'll note a surprising amount of variety in terrain elevation, grasses, rocks, vegetation, and small animals. Rain and time of day help bring the world to life, but there are a number of rough spots to the engine. Animation isn't as fluid as it could be, so animals sometimes look a bit off in their movements, and scenery details routinely phase into view as you walk forward. Texture work is impressive in some areas and ugly in others. The sound is mostly ambient noises, but there are times when music will play, often to serve as a warning. Overall, the presentation is impressive for a budget-priced game developed by a two-man team. Miasmata is certainly not a game that will appeal to everyone. If you're looking for combat, in-depth crafting options, or a true survival simulation, then Miasmata's limitations will likely be disappointments. Yet if you're the type of player who enjoys exploring cartography and the danger of being hunted by a creature you cannot defeat, then Miasmata will prove to be a highly memorable experience that's equal parts exasperating and thrilling.